The unexpected visitor. It was a quiet night. James sat on his bed staring at his tablet screen. His parents had gone to sleep. The house was dark and still. Outside, the moon shone through the window, casting silver light across his room. Then, knock knock. James froze. The sound didn't come from the door. It came from the window. Slowly he turned his head. Another soft tap-tap echoed. He walked to the window and pulled back the curtain. His eyes widened in shock. A girl stood outside, on the rooftop, glowing faintly under the moonlight. Her skin shimmered like silver dust. Her eyes glowed blue and her hair floated slightly like it was underwater. She looked human, but not fully. She looked alien. Then she whispered something. James. He stepped back. His heart raced. She knew his name. He looked again. Something about her face felt familiar. Slowly, he opened the window. Cold air rushed in. "Who are you?" he asked, trying to keep his voice calm. She looked around nervously and climbed in. Her movements were fast but soft like a shadow. She stood inside his room, breathing hard, then quickly crouched down beside his bed. "They followed me," she whispered. "I had nowhere else to go." James stared. "Wait. I know you. You're Alara, right? My dad's friend's daughter?" She nodded. James remembered now. Years ago, his father had taken him to a spaceport. He'd met an alien man, tall and kind, and his daughter, a little girl with glowing eyes. That girl was now standing in his room, taller, older, and clearly frightened. "Why are you here?" James asked. "What happened?" Alara looked at him with tearful eyes. "My father is missing. He sent me to Earth. He said if anything ever happened, I must find your family." James sat down, confused and nervous. "Wait, my dad? Why would he tell you that?" "Because your father helped us long ago," she said. "He promised to protect me if danger came." James rubbed his face. "But he never told me any of this. And how did you even find me?" "I remembered your house," she said simply. "It's the only safe place I know." Before James could speak again, a strange noise echoed in the distance, like a low hum. Ilara's eyes widened. "They're close," she said. "We have to hide." "Who's close? The ones who want me captured? Or dead?" James's skin turned cold. He didn't know much about aliens, but he knew this was serious. He grabbed his blanket and pulled it over. "Her, you stay here. Don't move," he said. Then he quietly opened his door and peeked into the hallway. All was still. He returned to Alara. She looked weak, almost shaking. "Are you okay?" he asked softly. "I haven't eaten in 2 days," she admitted, "and I used too much energy to hide." James rushed to the small drawer under his bed and pulled out a protein bar. "Here." She smiled weakly and took it. Her glowing fingers unwrapped it quickly and she began eating. With each bite, her skin seemed to glow a little brighter. He sat beside her, confused and full of questions. "My dad worked with your people?" "Yes," she nodded. "He helped form a secret peace pact between humans and my kind, but someone wants that peace broken. And they're chasing you to break the pact?" "Yes." James took a deep breath. This was insane. Just a normal night had become something out of a sci-fi movie. Then Alara grabbed his hand. "James, I need your help." He looked at her glowing fingers wrapped around his. "I'm just a kid," he said. "I don't know anything about war or aliens or space politics." "You don't have to," she said. "Just help me survive tonight. Just help me hide." A soft rumble shook the air. Both of them turned their heads toward the window. Hover lights. Strange. Circular lights scanned the street below, unlike any Earth vehicles. They were silent, glowing, and slow. "Searching." "They found me," Alara whispered. James stood up, his mind racing. He didn't know what was going on. He didn't know what to believe. But one thing was clear. She had come to his window, She had whispered his name, and now it was up to him to protect her. James didn't sleep that night. He sat beside the glowing alien girl, Ilara, as she lay under his blanket, her silver skin dim under the covers, her breathing soft and tired. His heart still raced. Everything felt like a dream. But it wasn't. Ilara was real. The hover drones had circled the house once, then drifted away. They hadn't found her yet. When the sky turned purple with dawn, James quietly went to the kitchen. He grabbed some bread, fruit, and a bottle of water, then returned to his room. Ilara sat up slowly, eyes still heavy. "Thank you," she whispered. James handed her the food. "You need strength." She nodded and ate in silence. When she finished, she looked at him with tired, sad eyes. "I didn't want to come here. I didn't want to bring danger." "Then why me?" he asked. "Why not go to the government or the embassy?" Her face changed. She looked down. "Because I don't trust them," she said. "And because your father saved my life once." James blinked. "He never told me that." "He wasn't allowed to," she said. "It was part of the pact. He protected my father during a secret war. If word got out, both humans and my people would have called them traitors." "But my dad was just an engineer," James said. "He worked in spaceports and ships. He wasn't a hero." Ilara smiled sadly. "Then he lied to you." "He was more than that." James fell silent. Then she leaned forward. "Do you remember the green box he kept locked in his closet?" James's eyes widened. "Yeah, he said never to touch it." "It wasn't just tools," Ilara said. "It holds alien tech. He kept it for this moment, in case I returned." James stood and rushed to the closet. He pulled down the green box, heavy and dusty. It had no keyhole, just a smooth metal surface. "How do I open it?" he asked. "Say your father's full name, and mean it." James stared at her, confused. Then he placed his hand on the box. "Jonathan Elias Mercer," he said softly. Click. The box hissed and slid open. Inside were strange glowing devices, metal bracelets, a cube humming with light, a small silver earpiece, and a folded letter. James opened the letter. "If you're reading this, son, then Ilara is back and things are bad. I never wanted to drag you into this, but I knew one day she might need you. Inside this box is a protection band. It syncs to your body. Only use it if her life is in danger. Don't trust everyone and don't let her be taken." "Dad." James looked up, eyes wide. Ilara reached out and picked up the silver band. "This is tether tech," she whispered. "It connects two beings, so their energy can support each other in danger." James stared. "You mean, if I wear this, I can protect you?" "Yes," she said. "But it comes with risk. It connects our strength and our pain." He hesitated. "Why me? Why not someone stronger?" She looked into his eyes. "Because you care, and that's what we need most right now." James slid the band onto his wrist. It lit up. The room glowed blue for a moment. Then it faded. He felt a strange warmth in his chest. Suddenly, "Bzzzt!" Ilara gasped and held her head. "What is it?" James asked. "They're using scanners," she said. "They've tracked my energy trail. We don't have much time." James stood. "We'll hide." "No," Ilara said. "We need to run." "Where?" "To the old shipyard. Your father said there was a signal booster hidden there. If we can reach it, we can call for help." James nodded. "I know the way." But as they stepped out of the room, something flashed on the front porch camera. Two tall shadows. One had metal armor, the other had no face, just a helmet with red eyes glowing in the dark. "They're here," Ilara whispered. James grabbed her hand. "We run together," he said, and then they slipped out the back door into the cold wind of dawn, running not just for their lives, but for a truth buried deep in the stars. The cold wind slapped against James's face as he and Elara ran through the back alleys behind his house. The early morning sky was still dark, only a soft blue rising behind the trees. Elara moved fast, barefoot, silent, graceful. James tried to keep up, his heart pounding. He clutched the strap of his backpack tight. Inside it, water, food, the glowing cube from the green box and his father's old wrench. It wasn't a weapon, but it made him feel braver. Behind them, a low hum followed, steady and chilling. The hunters were coming. "They'll track my energy trail," Elara said, between breaths. "We need to hide it." "How?" James asked, panting. She turned to him and grabbed his wrist, the one with the tether tech band. "Give me your hand." James hesitated, but did as she asked. Elara closed her eyes, and the band glowed blue. Her skin shimmered faintly. Then, pulse. A wave of invisible energy burst out. The air shimmered like heat on a road. Birds scattered from nearby trees. "What was that?" James asked, blinking. "I scrambled my energy pattern. It'll confuse. Their sensors go for a little while." James stared at her. "You're not just a kid, are you?" Elara gave a sad smile. "I was born into war. I never got to be a kid." They turned a corner and saw the old train yard ahead. Rusty tracks, broken fences, and half-dismantled cargo ships sat like forgotten. Skeletons under the morning fog. "This place gives me the creeps," James muttered. "Good," Elara said. "That means they'll avoid it too." They slipped through a hole in the fence and crawled into one of the old ships, an Earth freighter from decades ago. Inside, the smell of oil and rust filled the air. Elara sat down, breathing hard. "We rest, but only for 5 minutes." James nodded and looked around. Then he froze. Footsteps. Heavy, metallic, coming from outside the ship. He peeked through a crack in the ship's door. 2 shadows passed by. One had claws instead of hands. The other had a long, sharp tail dragging. Across the ground, James's mouth went dry. "They're here," he whispered. Elara's eyes glowed faintly. She stood up, silent, her body tensed like a wild animal ready to leap. James looked down at the silver cube in his bag. "Can this thing help us?" "It's a flare beacon," Elara whispered. "But we can only use it once. If we light it now, anyone in orbit will see the signal." "Friend or enemy?" "Exactly." They heard the metal door outside being torn open. James looked at her. "We can't wait, let's go." They ran again, slipping out the back of the ship. But this time, a growl. Something leaped from above and landed behind them. A tall hunter wrapped in black armor. Red lights glowed from its helmet. Its clawed hand reached forward and slammed James to the ground. "James!" Elara screamed. James kicked wildly, but the creature pinned him down. Then, flash! Elara's body lit up. Energy swirled around her. Her eyes turned pure white. She held out her hand, and the tether band on James's wrist glowed too. The creature hesitated, then screeched in pain as blue fire burst from Elara's palm, blasting it back into a pile of metal crates. James gasped and sat up. "What was that?" Elara trembled. "I used too much. I can't control it long." She staggered. James caught her. "Don't pass out. We're almost there." Together they stumbled deeper into the yard, reaching a hidden bunker beneath a broken transport ship. James remembered it from his childhood. He and his dad used to play here, but now it wasn't a game. Inside the bunker, James flipped a dusty switch. Old lights flickered to life. "There," Elara said, pointing. "That tower has the signal booster." James nodded and opened the access panel. It still worked. Elara placed her hand on the console and began to glow again. "I'm sending a call, but I don't know who will hear it." James looked outside. The red eyes of the hunters were getting closer. "We have one shot," he said. "Whoever hears us, they better be the good guys." She pressed her palm to the console. A bright beam of blue light shot into the sky, cutting through the clouds. The hunters roared behind them. James and Alara looked at each other, breathing fast. They didn't know if help would come, but they had just told the galaxy they were still alive, and they were not giving up. The signal shot into the sky like a blue spear. It lit up the foggy clouds, shaking the birds from trees, causing animals to cry out in the distance. James covered his eyes from the brightness. Even Alara winced and turned her head. Then, silence. The light vanished, and the bunker was dark again. James turned to her. Did it work? Alara was breathing heavily. I don't know. Someone will see it, but I don't know who. James stared at the ceiling, heart pounding. Then we just wait? Alara shook her head. No, now we prepare. Because the hunters saw it too. Footsteps echoed outside. They weren't alone. James grabbed the wrench from his bag. He knew it was useless, but it made him feel a little stronger. Alara knelt near the door, her glowing fingers ready. Outside, 2 red lights floated in the dark. They're scanning the area, she whispered. James thought quickly. There's an old breaker panel under the floor. Maybe I can overload it, create a distraction? Alara nodded. If they lose vision for even 1 second, I can push them back. He pried up the old metal panel. Beneath it, wires buzzed quietly. His dad used to let him tinker here. James didn't know alien tech, but he knew earth wires. He yanked 2 cords together. Sparks flew. A loud crack filled the room, and all the lights exploded. In that second of darkness, Alara moved. Boom! Shockwave rocked the bunker. The walls shook. Dust poured from above. James coughed and crawled toward her. The hunters had been thrown back, but Alara was on her knees, breathing hard. Are you okay? He asked. I use too much, she whispered. My energy is fading. James helped her stand. Can you still fight? She looked up at him. Only if I'm not alone. The tether band on his wrist flickered. Then I'm not leaving you, James said firmly. Suddenly, ping. A soft sound echoed from the control panel. A message. They rushed over. A small screen lit up. Letters appeared, alien script at first, then translated to English. Emergency beacon received. Identity confirmed, preparing descent. James stared. Someone's coming. But Alara didn't smile. She pointed to the final line blinking on the screen. Arrival time, 43 minutes. Almost. 3/4 of an hour, too long. James looked at her. Can you hide again? Alara shook her head. They're too close and I'm too weak. Then we have to move. No, she said softly. We make our stand here. But this place won't hold. It's not the walls that protect us, James, she said quietly. It's us. James wanted to argue, but deep inside something in him shifted. He wasn't just some teenager anymore. He was his father's son. He was bonded to her now and he was done running. Then we fight, he said. He checked the bunker supplies, old batteries, wires, sharp scrap metal. He began building traps. His hands moved fast. Alara, too weak to stand, sat near the center of the room. She took a deep breath and started whispering strange words in her language. What are you doing? James asked. Calling the spirit of my mother, she said softly. She died in a war, but she taught me to be brave. James nodded. She'd be proud, he said. The floor rumbled again. Shadows moved outside. The hunters had returned. Stronger, this time, and angry. 30 minutes, Alara whispered. James tightened his grip on the wrench. We hold the line, he said. The door exploded. Boom! The bunker door blasted open. Dust and metal flew everywhere. James shielded Alara with his body as the force of the explosion threw them back against the wall. His ears rang. His heart pounded. Smoke filled the air. Through the haze, 2 hunters stepped inside. One had a long blade for a hand, sharp as glass. The other had a round head with 6 glowing red eyes scanning the room like a machine. James felt fear crawl up his spine. Then, his wristband lit up. The tether tech activated. A soft voice echoed in his mind, his father's voice. "If she's in danger, the band will respond to your will. Trust it. Trust her." James clenched his fists. He stepped in front of Alara. The hunter with the blade rushed forward. James raised his hand, not knowing what would happen. Flash. A glowing blue shield burst from his arm, catching the blade mid-swing. Sparks flew. The hunter staggered back. James stared at his hand. "I didn't know I could do that." Alara looked up, weak but smiling. "You're learning." The second hunter aimed a strange gun. It charged with red light. James grabbed a metal plate from the ground and tossed it. The gun fired, boom, but the blast hit the plate, not them. He turned to Alara. "Can you move?" "Not far." He helped her behind some crates. The hunters began to circle, scanning the shadows. James breathed hard, trying to remember something, anything, his dad had said about alien tech. Then he remembered the letter's last line. "If the band reaches full charge, you won't be human for a moment." What does that mean? He whispered to himself. Then, the cube in his bag lit up. Alara's eyes widened. "That's a charge cell. If you link it to your wristband, it will boost your connection, but what?" "You'll feel what I feel," she said. "Even pain." James looked at her glowing eyes. "Then we feel it together." He slammed the cube into the wristband. Boom! A pulse of blue light rushed over his body like a wave. The air shook, his legs trembled. The hunters staggered backward, and suddenly, he saw Alara's memories, her running through dark forests, her holding her dying father's hand, her flying alone in a ship crying, her crash landing on Earth, her fear, her strength. Then his own heart answered back. He would not let her die here. James stood up straight. He felt taller, stronger. The first hunter attacked again. James moved faster this time. He ducked under the blade and slammed his hand into its chest. Energy exploded outward, blue lightning everywhere. The hunter screamed and dropped to the floor. The second one ran for Alara. James turned and shouted, "No!" A shockwave burst from him. The hunter was thrown across the room, crashing into the far wall and sparking like a broken machine. Then, silence. The lights flickered. James fell to his knees, gasping. Alara crawled over. "You did it." "No," James said, smiling weakly. "We did." Suddenly, a soft sound filled the room. Beep, beep. The control panel lit up again. Allied ship approaching. Touchdown in 5 minutes. They looked at each other, exhausted, bruised, but alive. Alara rested her head on his shoulder. "I wish my father could have seen this," she whispered. James didn't speak. Instead, he looked down at the glowing band on his wrist. Still warm, still alive. It wasn't just technology. It was his father's gift. His father had trusted him with more than just gear. He had passed on a legacy, a promise to protect, even when it was hard, even when it was scary. And now, James had kept that promise. A low rumble shook the bunker floor. James and Alara looked up as dust drifted from the ceiling. The control screen still blinked. Allied ship approaching, touchdown in 2 minutes. But something wasn't right. Alara's ears twitched. That sound, it's not coming from the sky. James stood and listened. Then it hit him. The noise was coming from underground. "Alara," he said carefully, "what if they didn't just send hunters? What if they sent something worse?" A new, deeper hum filled the room, one that made James's bones vibrate. Alara's eyes widened. "They activated a burrower," she whispered. "What's that?" She looked pale. A living machine, one made to destroy bunkers from below. The floor cracked, and then, boom! The center of the bunker exploded upward. Metal and dirt flew into the air. A black serpent-like creature burst from the hole, hissing steam. Its body was metal and bone, its face a twisted mask of wires. It let out a screech that echoed for miles. James grabbed Alara and pulled her back. "We can't fight that," he shouted. Alara shook her head. "No, but we can delay it." James blinked. "What?" "If we hold it off for one more minute, the Allied ship will land. They'll extract us." James looked at her, then at the beast. "It'll kill us before that," he said. "Not if you trust the tether one more time," she whispered. "But this time, you must link your heart to mine. Fully." James's eyes widened. "That means, if you die, I die," she said quietly. He didn't move. Then, slowly, he reached for her hand. "I'd rather stand beside you," he said, "than live hiding behind you." The tether band exploded in blue light. The burrower roared and lunged. At them, James felt a new energy flow into him. His feet lifted slightly off the ground. His skin shimmered like Alara's. He wasn't just James now, he was something more. He stepped forward as the beast rushed in. "Get down!" he shouted. Alara dove behind a crate. James raised his hand, and a glowing blue wall of energy slammed into the creature. It slowed but didn't stop. James jumped aside as its claw slashed across the wall behind him. Sparks flew. Metal bent. James picked up a long steel pipe and ran toward it. He screamed and swung the pipe, striking the beast's face nothing. It barely flinched. Alara focused and sent a wave of power through the tether. James's body glowed brighter. He moved faster, stronger. He leapt onto the creature's back and jammed the pipe into a glowing port. Zzzt! The beast screamed and rolled violently. James flew off and crashed hard against the wall. His body throbbed. Blood ran down his arm. He couldn't move. The beast turned toward him. "James!" Alara cried. She reached for him, but the beast raised its claw. Then, roar! The sky above tore open. A sleek silver ship blasted down from the clouds. It fired one shot, clean, blue, and deadly. The beam cut through the burrower like paper. The creature screeched, sparked, and collapsed in a heap of metal and fire. Silence returned. James blinked up at the sky. Alara rushed to his side. "James, stay with me." He coughed, then smiled weakly. "Still alive, I think." A soft female voice echoed from above. "We have you on visual. Extraction in 10 seconds. A glowing ring of light formed around them. Alara held James close. "You did it." He looked at her. "We did." The bunker faded as they rose into the sky, finally safe. But as the ship closed its doors, James turned to Alara. "Was this the end?" She shook her head. "No," she said. "This was just our beginning." The Allied ship soared above Earth's clouds, silent and fast. Inside, James lay on a smooth medical bed. Warm lights above him glowed softly. His injuries were healing, thanks to alien tech. Bandages wrapped his arm, and a light pulse moved over his chest, fixing bruised bones. Across from him sat Alara. Her skin was still glowing, but softer now. Her silver hair fell around her shoulders like moonlight. She looked at him with gentle eyes, but something in them was different. Quieter. He smiled weakly. "You okay?" She nodded slowly. "Yes, thanks to you." They sat in silence for a while, just listening to the soft hum of the ship. James finally asked, "Where are we going?" "To the orbital safe zone," Alara said. "It's a place where no one can chase me. No hunters, no war. Just peace." James looked out the window beside him. Stars twinkled. The earth curved below. "So this is it?" he asked. "You go there? I go home?" She didn't answer right away. Instead, she stood and walked to the window. "You know, when I arrived that night, I thought I was going to die. I didn't want to knock. I was scared you wouldn't remember me." "I almost didn't." James said with a small laugh. She smiled, then turned serious. But you opened the window. He nodded. And you stepped in. She walked back to him slowly and sat beside his bed. You saved me more than once. You fought for me when no one else would. You trusted me. I'm glad I did. She looked down, then took his hand gently. In my culture, she said, when two people share a life bond during battle, it's not just survival, it's something sacred. James tilted his head. What do you mean? Her cheeks glowed slightly, like a blush. I mean, she whispered, on my world, they would say we're already mates. James blinked. Wait, what? She smiled shyly. Not married, not yet, but bonded. It's something we can choose to keep or let go. James's heart thudded in his chest. And, what do you want? He asked quietly. She looked into his eyes. I want to stay with you. Learn your world. Be near you. If you'll let me. James opened his mouth, but no words came out. Then he smiled. I was hoping you'd say that. Alara leaned her head on his shoulder. They sat together in peace for the first time in days. No more running, no more fear. Above them, stars stretched out forever. James glanced down at the glowing band still on his wrist, his dad's gift. The same band that brought them together, through fire, pain, and the edge of death. Now, it linked something stronger than survival. It linked hope. Alara whispered. I used to believe no one would ever stand for me, that I would always run. James held her hand. Then it's time to stop running. She smiled again, and as the ship glided toward the stars, she said something he would remember forever. That night, I knocked on your window, not knowing what would happen. But now I know. My whole life began when you opened it.